is that I have it with streaming now.
Yeah, so I always give it a minute. So perfect, we're up and going.
All right. So let me start with the formalities because this is a COVID remote meeting, and here we go. So I'm Norm Corbin. I'm the chair of the Northborough Historic District Commission. This open meeting is being run by the Northborough Historic District Commission, and it's being conducted pursuant to Chapter 20 of the Acts of 2021, an act relative to extending certain COVID-19 measures adopted during the state of emergency, signed into law on June 16th, 2021. This meeting will be conducted via remote participation. There will be no in-person, there will be no in-person attendance by members of the public at this meeting. In order to mitigate the transmission of COVID-19 virus, the town of Northborough has been advised and directed by the Commonwealth to suspend public gatherings, and as such, the governor's order suspends the requirement of an open meeting law to have all meetings in a publicly accessible physical location. All members of the Northborough Historic District Commission are allowed and encouraged to participate remotely. The order allows our commission to meet entirely remotely so long as reasonable public access is offered so that the public can follow along with the deliberations of the meeting. The public is encouraged to follow along using the posted agenda unless the chair notes otherwise. Members of the public who wish to view the live stream of this meeting may do so by going to the Northborough Remote Meetings on YouTube via the link listed on the agenda. Ensuring public access does not ensure public participation unless such participation is required by law. Tonight's meeting will not feature public comment. All right. So the next part is the roll call vote. Let's see who's here. Make sure everybody's live. So we've got Brian Smith.
I'm here.
Excellent. Michael DeShano.
Here.
I'm here. Leslie, you're back.
Here. Yep.
Great. Bob Light.
Here.
Amanda.
Here.
Brian Swanson.
Here.
And Millie.
Here.
Thank you, Millie. Leslie, I did not read the old language. I have new language that was sent to me by, just so we're on the same page. It's in the new languages as of June 16th, 2021. So
Yeah, yeah.
we're on the same page. But it's good to double check. All right. So let's look at the agenda.
It is, no, I contend it's different. I'm looking at the June 16th. Anyway, it doesn't matter. We can talk about it later, but anyway, go ahead.
All right, so we'll start with the meeting. First, I have to thank Leslie. She's going to carry the ball for me in terms of getting the technology for the videos that we're doing. She's coordinating that with the town hall. That's one thing that she's doing for me, which I appreciate it. And the other thing is Bruce couldn't make it tonight because he's on vacation. So I do need someone who'll take meeting minutes and actually prepare the meeting minutes for this meeting. So who would feel comfortable summarizing this in meeting minutes?
Do you want me to do it, Norm? I know I don't condense it as well as you do, but I'm happy to do it.
Well, you've done 2 already. I like what you do because it's easy for me to edit something that's already in print. So if you have the time, I'd appreciate it.
No, I'm happy to do it.
Thank you, Millie. That would be great.
You
All
got
right.
it.
So now we're on to the meeting minutes. So we have 2 that we need to review. One is April 21st and one is June 16th. Let me see if I did this right, I can actually pull these puppies out. Let's see. Okay, let me do the shared screen thing. Excellent. Hey, Jim, I need to be able to access the shared screen option.
Sorry about that. Here, I'll change those privileges now.
I see it. I have it.
Well, yeah, but when I click on it, it tells me I'm not authorized.
Right.
So yeah, I
Sorry.
have one participant can share at a time. So I'll just make you co-host. That should convert that. So you should be all set.
All right, try again. All right, everything's up there. Let's see. So we'll start with April's meeting minutes. Share. Just want to make sure we're all working off the same documents. Again, Millie, thank you for pulling this off.
Yeah.
Does anybody have a chance to look at it? And if there are any comments or if you need to read it, let me know and we'll give you minutes to read it.
I wasn't at the meeting, so.
You were not at the April 21st meeting?
Oh, the April 20th, I'm sorry. I was talking about the one you sent out today. Never mind, sorry. Yes, I was there.
Are the names on the public comments, are they accurate?
Yes, I double checked them with, it was Ann Beckstrom and John Wickstead, yes.
Okay, good, because I had written down a different name and I wasn't sure. I'm sure I got it wrong.
Everybody all set?
All set?
Do I have a motion to accept the meeting minutes of April 21st?
So moved.
Seconded?
Second.
Second,
All right, so Brian Swanson second that, right?
Yep.
All right. So I got to do this by roll call. So Brian Smith.
Here?
Okay, this is you're voting if this meeting minutes are acceptable.
Acceptable.
Thank you, Brian. Brian Swanson.
Acceptable.
Bob Light. Oh, you don't vote, Bob. I'm sorry. Millie.
Hey,
yes.
Leslie.
Yes.
Mike DeShano. You still with us? Mike? Hey, Mike. Oh, you're muted. There you go. Are
Sorry.
the meeting minutes acceptable?
Yes, yes.
Thank you. And I also say yes. So the meeting minutes of April 21st are done. Now, let's see if I can shoot this. How about we'll look at the June 16th meeting minutes. This one was the in-person meeting at Town Hall. So I think it's the same as before. As Ali, do you want me to scroll through it? Has everybody had a chance to read it? Let's see. So who would like time to read it?
I'm still seeing the April 21st,
Very good. Thank you.
but I did read it previously and it was fine for me.
the only comment I had was the, in the minutes, I mean, in the meeting notice, there was mention of the Northborough history book by Kent.
Yes,
So I'm wondering if you wanted to just say that it was distributed.
yes,
At the
thank you. I will,
Only to be consistent with the minutes. I mean, with the meeting announcement.
I think that's a good idea. Consistency is always a good idea. Let's see, I'm gonna stick it, if I can do this, I can stick it in here.
It's a Kent book.
Yeah, now that's when you have to deal with my spelling, all right? All right, thanks, Bob. So I put that edit in.
Good.
Anything else? Any other comments? All right, hearing none. If we're ready, we can vote on the June 16th, 2021 meeting minutes. Can I have a motion for those minutes?
I make a motion to accept to vote on the June 16, 2021 meeting minutes.
Thank you, Millie. A second?
I'll
Second,
second.
All right, I got Brian Smith on that one.
yeah,
All right, roll call time. So we're voting on the meeting minutes of June 16, 2021. Brian Smith,
acceptable.
Brian Swanson,
Acceptable.
Millie,
Yes.
thank you. Leslie,
Abstain?
good point. Mike DeShano,
Approve.
very good. So we've approved the meeting, and I approve. So the meeting minutes for June 16th are done. I will get them over to town hall. Millie, you don't have to worry about that part. But I gotta send them into town hall, and that's easy.
Okay, great.
All right, we'll start running down through some things. Old business, CBA projects updates. The Howard Street Burial Ground interpretive sign was installed 2 days ago.
Ah,
Now, let me see. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna. That's the pic. Can you see the picture?
Oh, wow.
Oh, nice.
Bit of an
So-
improvement.
That's a big improvement, and they removed the other one. So another notch, another project that is done.
Great.
wow.
Can I share
Uh,
my little anecdote? You know
What's
this.
that?
So I was at the cemetery. I had a friend visiting a couple months ago, and we went to the I was showing her the cemetery, and there was a couple looking at the old sign, and I commented as I was going by that the sign was going to get replaced. So we just continued on. My friend and I continued on, and this woman chased me down and said that asked if I knew about where I could get a book about the history of Northborough. And I wasn't sure if she meant the older one that was done by the Historical Society. But she said, I don't know any book. So I had an extra one that Norm had given me from the Historical Society. Turns out she grew up in Northborough. She was going to visit her mom. She was so excited. She came by my house, got this book. She said it was like made her mom's whole day. So
Oh, well, that was good.
yeah,
It's amazing how, just the luck of the draw.
yeah.
So if anybody wants to walk by and check it out, it looks good.
Good.
And Norm, did they use a different process on this one than the other one because the other one is collecting water, or what's up with the other one?
That'll come up next. I'm not sure in this one. I took a look at it. It might still also have that, might have a plexiglass front. I'm not 100% sure. So we need to keep an eye on it because it's guaranteed.
A good looking sign.
Hmm.
All right. So that's one. That one's down. Excuse me. My allergies started to kick in the last 2 days. Now the Brigham Street Burial Ground was installed, and I don't remember if I mentioned it last time, but there was a problem. Rainwater was getting between the front plexiglass plate and the sign itself. So they removed it and repaired it and redesigned it. So there's no glass front anymore, or plexiglass front anymore. And they reinstalled it. So it's been repaired. It's back up and running. So that project is done. Just to put in perspective, we put the funding for request in 2 years ago. So it takes a while for us to get them done, but they get done. And the last one is nomination of the Howard Street Cemetery to the National Register. I've been communicating with the contractor who's doing this, and she does plan to come up in a couple of weeks to revisit the cemetery. And I think she wants to also go to town hall and see if she can pull some more information out of there, or maybe even the society. So it's going forward. like everything else, it takes time, but that one's progressing. Now, we're on to the next topic. It's the planned demolitions on the old state hospital grounds. And let's see, we'll do the whole shared screen thing again. Which document is that? See if I can find it.
Hey, Norm,
Yeah,
I'm in something called safe driving mode.
yeah.
Is there a way I can get out of that?
Oh, I have no, what, are you in the car?
No, I'm not sure what happened. But it says my,
You're definitely asking the wrong person.
okay. It says
Sorry
my,
about that, but are you driving safely?
it says, actually, if I was driving my chair and my table, kitchen table, I would be driving safely, but
Yeah, I can't help you there. Sorry, buddy.
okay.
Can you, other than that mode, are you able to see anything or do anything, or are we just a
No,
blank?
my video was stopped and the microphone I have to hit done speaking or start speaking. I don't know what's going on. It just says safe driving mode.
So I
This is
just
why Norm loves these meetings.
I just looked it up. So on the screen, try swiping left and you should exit it. So entering it, you swipe
okay.
right. So you may
Got
have
it.
accidentally swiped right, and then swiping left will exit you from that mode.
Yeah, that seemed to work. Thank you.
Not a problem. That's why I'm here.
I gotta tell you, Jim, you're quite a lifesaver. All right, let's see if I can do the shared screen again. Hold on. And this is it. All right, you're looking at this memorandum of agreement?
Yes,
All right, so this is the final agreement between the town of Northborough, the Northborough Historical Commission, and Division of Capital Asset Management and Maintenance from the state in terms of what they are doing to mitigate the fact that they're demolishing several buildings on Northborough property, excuse me, within the town of Northborough, but on the old Westborough State property. Bob and I did visit the site and walked around. We gave them some options we thought of where the possible markers could be located, and I've been communicating with them about that. But in the end, they prefer the location that they're recommending. So they're going to build the markers for us. They're going to prep the ground for us. They're going to maintain the site for us, and they're paying for all of that. So they kind of, if that's what they really want, I think we can certainly live with that.
Yep.
So Norm, that's going to be the entrance to the model airplane lot, right?
That's the entrance to the model airplane launch site.
And there's going to be two signs, so one could be on either side of the road, maybe?
Yeah, we can, I don't know what they're gonna do. We probably can try to talk to them about that. This is still gonna be a while away, but, that's the location of the site. And I don't know where they're, that's a conversation we should have with them, where they're gonna place them exactly. So for the, can I rotate this? Let's see if I can do this. Yeah, it's upside down, it's not better. How about that? So for those who are familiar where, this is Chauncey Hall right here, which is being demolished. And this is the airplane launch area. And so this is Lyman Street. This is, you're going into Northborough. And this is the site, the intersection here between the road that goes to the model airplane launch site. So what I need to do, and I didn't want to sign anything without running it by you guys for comment. I need to sign right here as a Northborough Historical Commission Chair. So, so that's the plan, 2 signs. We have to supply the wording for the sign, so we have ourselves another little project. We're gonna have 1 sign dealing with the farm history regarding the old Westborough State Hospital farm, which is where with Northborough, which was in the town of Northborough. And then another one dealing with the Native American Trail and the Native American sites in the area. So we still have some role to play here. So what I'm looking for right now is any comments about what they're going to give us. And then if you decide to sign it, I'm just going to ask for a roll call to say it's okay to sign it. Is that right?
I've looked at it, and it's fine with me.
All right. So anybody else with any comments about this?
I mean, I think, I'm trying to remember what was it that we were asking them to do. And if I understand what you're saying, we're getting 2 signs. So all of that, I'm trying to remember what we asked them, so the end of that is 2 signs, right?
Right. The end of the discussion is that they will pay for 2 signs
Okay.
and to market the historical areas. This was done before when they widened Main Street in the center of town.
Yeah.
Because they were widening the Main Street and it's a historical part of the town, they also did a similar thing for us. There's a historic marker in front of 4 West Main Street. It's a brass marker that notes that it was the Boston Post Road. So this is something they've done for us in the past.
Okay.
We asked them Bob and I were at a meeting with them on site about 3 months ago. And, we asked them, is there anything in Chauncey Hall that's worth saving somehow? Just almost like old wood, or, is it something that could be reusable? And as we walked through the building, no, that's clearly not the case at all. It's not that kind of construction to salvage anything, so.
Norm, you had originally talked about a brass sign. And my understanding is that they want to put their own design up.
Right now, the agreement is that it is a rock that has a brass sign on it. That's what I'm expecting, and I don't see that special. It just says what the signage will document on it.
Okay, so it doesn't rule out the granite and brass.
Correct.
Oh, good. Okay.
And like I said, since they've done that before for us, I shouldn't make an assumption, but this is what I'm expecting.
Good. Good.
Wasn't there a requirement that you were asking for that you kind of kept informed or kept up to date on, what was going on over there? Is that somewhat part of this agreement?
Yes, it's right up, if I scroll up here in the legalese part, let's see.
So they agreed to that too?
Yes, notification of demolition. DCAM will provide notification to us when they demolish Chauncey Hall. But we have, Bob and I went through and walked through and took some photographs. So we've kind of documented what we needed to do about the building.
Okay.
All right, so we'll do unless somebody else has something else, we've got to do the roll call vote. So I'm looking for a motion. Let's see if I can word this right. A motion that accepts the DCAM's proposal for 2 historical markers on the old Westboro State property grounds.
So moved.
If somebody
So moved.
says so moved, we can move on. We can go right to the next step.
So moved.
So
All right. So Mike made the proposal. I need a second.
second,
All right,
Third.
Millie got the second this time. And roll call. So Brian Smith,
Acceptable.
Brian Swanson,
Approved.
Bob Light. Nope, you can't vote. Sorry.
I can't vote,
And Millie.
but
yes,
if I could vote,
You could vote, yeah. Leslie
Approved.
and Mike DeShano.
Approved.
And I'm approving it. Okay, so I need to actually I gotta sign it tonight and get it into them tomorrow. They want this pronto. They were nice enough to let us delay it. All right, that's done. Thank you, guys. You will be hearing from me about how to write these brass markers up. All right, so next, historic preservation plan. Let's just skip that one right now, okay? And if you don't mind, and I want to go to the CPA funding request. So let me stop the share. There we are, everybody's there. CPA funding request for 2022. We spoke about this last week. I got notification, Leslie, correct me if I'm wrong, that November 4th is the due date for the applications.
I'd have to look it up. That sounds right. It's always early
Yeah, that's
November.
right.
I got the notice a couple days ago.
That's
All
right.
So this is what we were discussing for possibilities for next year. The Brigham Street Cemetery. You remember there's some 20+ trees that are dead. We need to take them down for damage because of safety, and they could damage some of the markers that are there.
Is that not something, that's not something the town would do?
Not at the prices. This isn't, they need a contract to take all those trowns down. They cannot take them down themselves. And I have
This is not normal maintenance that they do. For the
not
roads
even close.
removals. Okay.
Not
All
even
right.
close. Geez, I didn't, so the plan is take down the trees, come up with some concept of fencing or wall or something to really separate just with parallel Brigham Street. And then Tom Reardon made a thought that, right now you can pull off the road and read the sign that's the historic marker that's there. But it might be better if that was either paved or something else. So there's 3 topics on this possibility. Scott already went out and got a quote to take the trees down. Scott is the DPW director, and I'd have to look to find it. It was pricey because it's so many trees. Scott asked us to think about what we would want for an idea for fencing. Then he can get quotes for that. And then we can talk, talk about if we can improve the parking somehow. It's really just a shoulder, expanding the shoulder of the road. So this would be a proposal that the Historic District Commission will be putting in with Scott. And excuse me, go from there. Has anybody had a chance to look at fencing ideas?
I like
I
the one around the common. I like that style. The low with the 2 wooden wooden rails into.
Split rail.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's low, but it gives you a boundary, and it doesn't. The granite blocks that you use for the posts are pretty solid, so I think that looked pretty nice.
And debated between something like that and just sort of a shorter version of the other, sort of just the regular iron or whatever not iron, but aluminum, maybe they're iron, just the black fencing that's around other cemeteries, but a low version.
I went online and did a real quick look for cemetery fencing, and a lot of them are very Gothic looking from the 1800s, which is not really appropriate for that cemetery. And then the other thing that popped up, if you put in colonial style fencing, it's a lot of very modern style fencing that you would put for your home. I can do the shared screen again. Let's see. So this is what Mike was talking about. Can everybody see this?
yeah.
All right. I think also Tom Reardon mentioned it last meeting that might be a concept too. So these are examples that are similar to what was done around the common, especially the one here on the right. And then this company has just a bunch of stuff. Let's see, different designs that they have.
I like the chain ones too.
Yeah,
Okay.
Is there any fencing currently on that property right now?
No, there's none whatsoever. There's none
Okay.
whatsoever. So this is really the market clearer that this is a cemetery. Very, very few people in town realize that that's a cemetery or a burial ground. So we're trying to,
Mm.
anything we're doing with that area right now is to heighten people's awareness that, yeah, this is a place of burial. It's not a place for dumping leaves and stuff. So
I think the most low-key approach might be the granite post with the chain, like a single chain.
something
I
like,
like that.
something like the one here in front of this white building here. Like that one?
Yeah, that or the one to the right. I mean, there are a bunch of them. There are 3 of them on the, yep.
Sure. I like the concept of the granite post, especially since granite posts are currently used as the markers for the cemetery,
Right.
for corners. What I'd like to be able to do is get something into Scott's hands and see if he's thinking along the same lines, because he's going to also have to bounce it by his cemetery committee, so they'd also have some input.
And the problem with
So-
chains typically is, people climb over chains, but for the cemetery, people are going to be walking around it anyway. You're not trying to direct traffic. You're just trying to delineate it.
Right.
Because I think they considered this for the chain for the town common, but that was one of the issues was, you're trying to direct traffic and it's just too tempting to climb over step over a chain.
Oh, I see.
But for this, we don't care.
That's true. So, and I noticed also there's different designs for the granite. Some of them, like this one here on the left, is very modern. It really wouldn't fit there. Some of them, like this, are rough on all sides, and some of them, like this one, are very well machined, essentially square. So there's a series of decisions that would have to be made. But at this point, what I want to do is be able to get to Scott and say, Scott, this is the concept we're looking at: granite post, possible chain, possible duplication of what's on the common, and go from there. And he
Can
can
you click
figure
on
out what works for
Can you click on the
pricing.
one? Oh, I'm sorry. There's a delay, so I'm talking over you. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Can you click on the one with the farmhouse in the background?
This one here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So that's the rough.
that's kind of a rough-ish style rather than the smooth style.
I like that. And also just having sort of the colonial house in the background kind of gives you a sense.
I
for-
like the
Yeah.
roughish style, yeah.
Yep, I agree.
I agree with that.
Okay, let me take a note here.
Norm, can you click on the one to the upper left of that?
This guy right, this one,
Diagonal?
this one here,
No, upper left.
this one.
That one. No,
That
that
one?
one, right there. Nope, to the right. Yeah, that one. Okay, so that's a lighter granite.
Well, I don't know
Or-
about the
or
color so
cleaner.
much.
Cleaner granite.
It's a cleaner granite.
Right, it's
But it
got,
looks
this side
simple.
looks like it's rough. This side looks like it might be machined.
Okay,
So why don't we leave it? I'm just November's still 2 months away, but I wanted to give Scott an idea of the concept we're thinking might.
Yeah.
In the end, he's going to make the decision, I think, for pricing and what's practical for him to manage. But I have it as a granite post with rough styling, and then pod chain or like the town common. Those seem to be kind of the concepts we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
Amanda, you can speak up if you have
I
any
will.
comments,
It's,
because you're we called you a committee member in waiting.
Yes.
So don't hesitate to speak up. All right, so that was one. So that looks like one of the CPA programs, and that one has a sense of urgency in it because of the darn trees. The other one that was brought up, actually you brought it up originally, Leslie, is the possibility of having signs made for the Howard Street Cemetery, the Kaiser section. Ringing a bell?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
All right. That one would be straightforward since we've done it before for the other, I assume we would use the same design and the same company and the same concept. So if that's the case, then it would be relatively straightforward to get quotes for that, to have that done. You are right, Leslie, there are no markings to that part of the cemetery, and that's actually the busiest part of one of the busiest parts of the cemetery, certainly the new burials.
Is there a historic marker on the Grange? We ever talked about one for the Grange?
No, not yet. You mean like one of the brass signs that we've been putting up around
Yeah.
town?
Yeah.
It might be on a list somewhere, but it's not, it hasn't been.
Okay, if it's not on a list, I couldn't remember.
Well,
It probably is.
we could put it on the list, and that's the preservation plan part. We could put that on the list. The only thing that's been a challenge with the brass markers is the town does not want to put them on private property.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the tricks. And the third one is, let me get out of this shared mode here. Stop share. The third one is, Mike, has to do with an evaluation of the archaeology history of the town of Northborough. We would need quotes and information like that by November 4th. I'm not sure we want to push that button right now, my own opinion. I'd really like the idea of doing it. I'm just not sure we want to do it next year. How do you feel about that, Mike?
Mike, you're muted.
Okay, how's that?
Perfect.
Better.
Sorry. Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think the last time we spoke, I had through the other examples that I gathered, I had some pretty good scopes of work, and I had spoken to a bunch of the archaeological folks. So I think I come up with a ballpark number about 35,000. So whenever, we want to push that forward, I think I could resurrect that whenever it's necessary. I don't think there's a sense of urgency, but I think Northborough survived for 200 plus years without one. So
The question is have the architectural artifacts survived? That's the question.
Yeah.
Why don't we back burner it and really consider it next year?
Okay.
That would be a good idea. And I know you put some things together for the Historical Society already. At least you had some plans. So why don't we, for CPA funding, so why don't we put this to the back burner?
Fair enough.
All right, Mike, I'm glad. And I want to do Apple Fest right now. It's just the conversation piece. I sent the money in to reserve our spot on the parking lot for our booth. And that went fine. I am honestly getting nervous about this Delta COVID version that's coming around. If it gets worse, I don't think I want to work the booth. If it gets worse, I don't think I would want anybody on my committee to work the booth. So I'm not ready to pull the plug on it, but I'm kind of raising a flag that could happen. I don't know, Leslie, I don't know what the Rotary does in a situation like this. I think at some point the Rotary's going to have a tough decision to make.
It's the Apple Fest. Yeah, the Apple Fest committee will.
Well, isn't that run by the Rotary?
The street fair is run by the Rotary, but
right now I'm only worried about the street fair since that's
right. Now what I'm saying, I think it will be Apple. It'll be the town and the Apple Fest committee that would make the decision.
Okay.
But yes, the Rotary is what we run it.
So I'm trying to figure out what's the best thing to do here. It's a timing issue. Our next meeting is 2 days before Apple Fest. That's not a good time to back out if we decide that that's not a good idea. So I'm wondering if we should revisit. There's two options here. One is if we have to vote on that, then we should have a special meeting just to vote on that sometime in maybe 2 weeks before Apple Fest weekend, so about 2-3 weeks from now. Or you give me the authority to just pull the plug if you think it's not safe. So what would be the best approach in case we have to do that?
Pull a plug.
But you want me?
Making the decision to pull the plug now, or
No,
I want to
no,
pull the plug now. I think
No,
it's too early. I'm just looking to see
Yeah.
what's in 3 weeks from now. What should we do if it gets worse? If it doesn't get worse, I'm perfectly happy. But
yeah,
if it
Yeah.
does, I'm not so happy about the booth.
yeah. Yeah, pull the plug if you feel it's necessary.
I would agree.
Yep, makes sense.
All right. So you're essentially what you're doing is you're giving me the authority to do that.
Yep.
Okay. Very good. I hope I don't have to, but I think there's a comfort level we need to just be aware of. If we do the Apple Fest booth, I think when we talked last time, just a heads up is we thought we would try to get input for our historic preservation plan. That would be a forum we could get community input to what we're thinking of doing and what we might miss. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Okay.
I mean, one thing I want to mention about the booth is I'm not sure it's a binary participate or not. Maybe there's a compromise where we wear masks or we distance and we're just more have certain precautions.
That's
rather than just
true.
pulling
That's
the plug
true.
completely.
But if it gets worse, I won't be in the booth. And
Okay.
that's,
Yeah, no, it's my job. I've been
yeah,
doing
I
this
know,
for-
I know.
I haven't
but
stepped
if-
foot in the town hall, so I'm with you there. But
So let's see what happens in the next 2 to 3 weeks. All right.
Sorry to interrupt, Norm. I have a Lorna Helms in the waiting room. I don't know.
Yes, you can bring Lorna in. She's also a applicant in waiting.
Great, absolutely.
Hey, Lorna. How you doing? She's driving. Can you hear us okay?
Hi. Sorry I'm so late.
No, that's okay. We're glad to see you were able to participate. Actually, since you just joined us, we'll update everybody on the new membership situation. How's that?
Perfect. Sorry to interrupt.
No, this is good. So it was on the agenda. I may as well do it now. So we have 3 applicants in waiting for the alternate position. Amanda's been interviewed. Amanda is, well, I know her dad, and Amanda was very involved with White Cliffs early on with the Facebook page. So Amanda's been interviewed. She's waiting for the Board of Selectmen to accept her nomination, which is supposed to happen on the 22nd of this month or the 23rd, probably the 23rd, which is a Monday. And then she gets sworn in. The other 2 are Tom Reardon and Lorna Helms, who haven't been interviewed yet. It's a juggling act to get the interviews done with COVID and everything. So, and sometime, Lorna, you will get interviewed, and then you'll go through the same process. It's just taken a bit of a while. So we're going to welcome 3 more alternate members in the near future.
yay,
Yay! I know we're getting a full house. That's good.
yay. I love that.
Amanda, who's your dad?
Paul DeRozier. He used to run WCD.
Great.
And Paul's very active in the historical societies. That's where we cross paths with them. All right, this is going to be tricky for you, Lorna, because we're going to go online looking at the historic preservation plan. So you won't be able to read it, but you can listen to us. I don't know if you have to cut out. I understand, especially where you're driving. So
Yep.
don't we won't.
And I'll be home in a little bit and I'll hop on the computer.
All right. Very good. Be careful driving, Lorna.
I hear there's a
I
safe
will.
driver mode for Zoom. I never knew about it before tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, we want everybody to be safe driving when they pay attention to our meetings.
I'm
All right.
impressed.
So let me see if I can do this. Hold on, guys. Go for a ride. No, there we go. All right. Share screen. All right. Is this working? Are you looking at section 6, historic preservation plan?
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
All right. I also sent an outline. I didn't bring it up right here, but I also sent an outline to show that section 6, this is really the preservation plan. All the other sections are useful information, the history of the town, the history of the commission, other aspects that are kind of almost like, I don't say boilerplate, but they support the preservation plan. So this is the nuts and bolts. This is the thing we're trying to decide on what needs to happen down the road for Northborough. So this is the second time you've seen it, but I've done quite a bit of editing. At this point now, I'm looking for the big picture. Did we miss something that we shouldn't have missed? And then I'd like someone, I don't think we can really do it online this easy with all of us, but I'd like someone to volunteer to edit it with me. I know it needs editing. That's not my forte, but I think we got the basic information here. Let me turn my phone off because somebody's harassing me. There we go. All right, so first, has anybody had a chance to take a look-see at it? I know Bob liked it, he commented already, and so did Julianne Hirsch.
I like
Off the
it.
top of your head, is something grossly missing?
I couldn't tell. It seems to be all there.
Yeah, it looks comprehensive to me. It looks amazing.
Yep, I agree.
And there is one thing missing, and that's a timetable. And I wasn't sure what to do with that. The master plan on some of these topics actually has a time frame, if it's a near-term, mid-term, or long-term goal. I didn't incorporate any of that in here at this point. At some point, we may have to have a table just at the end that says these different plans should be kind of this basic timeline. Bob, you had a few comments that I liked. Can you reiterate them while we're all together?
Sure. On page 1, just at the bottom of page 1, where you go through the four goals. And
Yes,
they
right
match
here.
up to the Northborough plan.
The master plan, yeah.
Was okay. So you changed the order where you moved the goal number 1 down to number 4.
You get a keen eye there, Bob. All right. And you want me to explain that?
Well, if there's a reason to do it, then fine. Otherwise, it would be easier if you kept the same order. But I have a feeling you moved it because it's a less important goal for us.
I moved it, I reordered them. I moved that to the bottom. Only, not that it's less important so much, but it's not so much under our jurisdiction. It's a lot of, if you actually go into the master plan, it's a lot of conservation topics and stuff like
Right.
that. And we have a one-line
That's what I
item in there.
thought. That's fine.
So that's
think
why I
that
moved
makes
it
sense.
as 4. So but you're making a good point. 1, 2, 3, 4, there's no order in terms of priority. I just thought it read better because number 4 really didn't involve us as much as the others.
I think that's fine. I assume that's why you changed the order.
And you had a couple of other comments while we're at addressing them?
Okay, sure. Just while you're there, it says other goals, number 5.
Yeah, that's because I want to make sure if we miss something.
Or would we be allowed to put in a goal that's not in the?
Oh, absolutely.
Northborough?
Yeah, absolutely. The master plan is just, I'm using it as a guide. If it's something that we had an oversight for and the master plan didn't pick it up, we should put it in. But I was having a hard time coming up with something that's a big error or a big oversight.
Okay, I didn't have any other suggestions, but I just wanted to make sure that we were okay to add goals.
Yeah, no problem. And there were a couple of other comments you had in the.
Yeah, just minor things on page 5 at the bottom or in the middle. Page 5.
Page 5, got it. Page 5, yeah. This is with
Okay, so
Boundary Street.
Yeah, for the Westboro. I think that it might be a good idea to mention that the two signs that are in the memorandum of understanding. It's a
Correct.
good place to add it.
That's true. When this was written, we did not know that was a fact. So,
Right, and then that means that the table HPP 1, if you want to go
Okay.
there. So on HPP 1, at the last two blank spaces, we could add the two signs, the one for the Native American Migration Trail, and the other one would be the State Hospital Farm Building sign. We can
okay,
add
that's
that to
good.
table.
That's good.
Okay,
Got it. So I'll just highlight that so I know to edit that. All right.
okay. And then the only other one I had was on the Boundary Street status.
Yeah,
So you referenced the map.
correct.
I don't have the map in front of me, but
No, I
it
can
showed.
pull it up, Bob. No problem. It's the last image if I remember. Right here. That's
Okay.
map.
So there's the blue area and the orange area there, and that's what you're referring to as Northborough towns.
Right.
Property,
Northborough. The Northborough town owns those properties. Yes.
Both of them. Okay.
Yes.
So if that's the case, I just to be clear, because I got confused, which is easy, is that we just changed the sentence that says, okay, this property includes the old farm trail. Oh, I'm sorry. No.
Yeah, under boundary street status and plans, you wanted me to add something.
Just to say that it is the
old trails, the farm, the
right, whatever I wrote in my emails,
Okay.
just to mention the two areas that are there, so that they know that the DPW area is also under consideration.
All right, that's good.
And then then right after that, I would add when I looked at the map, it didn't show any of the town trails, but we do have town trails through there, which are managed
Yeah.
by the Northborough Trails Committee. So,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
yeah, I looked at my trail map, and it goes, that's right around, I think that's Stirrup Brook.
Yeah, there's a couple trails that go through
So
there.
there's
That's
a trail
easy
that
to do.
goes to the left.
I can pull up, that software is the town's mapping software that anybody can access. And
Right,
you can access it so that it has the trails on it. So that's a good,
Right.
so I'll just put the,
So in my email to you, I wrote a sentence that just says, when talking about that property, it says
Yeah.
that this property includes the Old Farm Trail and the Birdsong Trail maintained by the Northborough Trails Committee.
Okay.
Because there is activity there already.
all right, that's good. I forgot about that. All right. Was that pretty much cover what you saw, Bob?
Yeah, that's all I saw at the.
No, that's
moment.
good.
Everything everything else looks good.
That's at the stage we're at right now. So I'm going to start at the beginning and scroll through kind of quickly to tell you the logic. So we already talked about the logic for the way I organize the four main goals. They don't use the term goal. They do. Let's see. Yeah, they are using the term goals. Goals and recommendations. Those are the terms that the master plan uses. And what we're trying to do is find specific activities. That's how we're wording that. So this part, this first part right here, right, that is essentially 90% of our preservation plan. That first one, the one that's called NCH2, that is 90%. The other three are small parts of our preservation plan in terms of detailed information. So, the first one is maintain, and this is again is the one that's really the core of our plan. Maintain and expand the protection of Northwest historic resources. I've put in this section on education because I think it's important. And then I went on to the different plans. So goals. So prepare a historic preservation plan. That's what we're trying to do right now. That's goal number 1. 2, continue to promote an awareness of Northborough's history. A lot of this came from the master plan, and some of it came from things that we've been doing in the last few years. Number 3, promote the protection of antique properties, including buildings, archaeological sites, structures, documents. So what I've highlighted in black is the wording that's actually in the master plan. And then now I'm going through listing all the kinds of things we should be considering doing. Sometimes I expand on it a little, sometimes I don't. 4, expand the historical assets inventory. So as I think I've mentioned before, in 2008, 2009, we had all the buildings before around 1910 inventory, and we stopped there. And there really is a reason to continue that inventory to other parts of the town and for other years. The state considers anything older than 50 years old an antique. So we can think about what we should be able to do there. I'm trying to address just topics that sometimes are on loose ends, and most people won't realize that. Explore ways to incentivize restoration and rehabilitation. Part of this is we in the town staff need to learn more about how to get how the tax incentives work for private corporations, how to get different funding opportunities for restoration. And one thing that's came out very clear in the master plan is downtown Main Street, Route 20. How do we protect that? Especially the historic section between Assabet River and the center of town, where all the homes are really well maintained. This is a funny one. Number 2, it's repurpose surplus town-owned buildings, facilities, and lands for community needs. No, maybe not a funny one, but it's a very visible interest because they're all buildings in town that essentially the town owns, and we don't know what to do with them. So what I did in this case is I picked each one by, so White Cliffs is one. I review the status of White Cliffs so people don't know it, and now they will at least have it. But it's this bottom paragraph is the bottom sentence is our role. The Historic District Commission will continue to be involved with any reuse considerations for this property. I mean, that's really our role. Everything else above that is just to inform people of what White Cliffs, why we care, and what the status is. Just for the heck of it, I'll put that in yellow for now. So that, I could have just said White Cliffs status, White Cliffs, and I could have just put this yellow thing in, this yellow highlighted area in, but I felt it needed a little more explanation. 13 Church Street, which is the old fire station. And I tell a little bit about the history of that, but in the end, I say the same thing. The Historic District Commission will continue to be involved with reuse considerations of this property. And we don't own them. The Historic District Commission doesn't own them. The town does, but if there's any involvement with reuse or of the property, we should be invited, I think, into that discussion. For West Main Street, that's the replica Old Town Hall. That's, other than the dentist's office being in there, is empty. I talk about the building a little bit of the history of the building. Again, all I'm saying is really we need to be involved with any reuse considerations of the building. 63 Main Street, that's the current town hall. And as I think we all recognize, there will be a project to evaluate what the town of Northborough will do for a future town hall. And there's a couple of things being considered, but it is possible that this building becomes vacant. And if that's the case, so there's a little history about the building, but if that's the case, I say the same thing. We just need to continue to be involved. Westboro State Hospital, we've updated it with that. Our involvement will be to get some historical markers on site. And Boundary Street's an interesting one. It comes up quite a bit, and the planning board talks about this quite a bit in the past.
Hey, Norm, I'm sorry, Norm, can you go back for a second? Does the town hall mention that it was the high school?
Yes, it does. The first line, second line.
Yeah,
There
this
we
is
go.
the
Okay,
current
great.
town hall
Okay.
is located behind Lowell High School. Yep.
Okay, great. All right, thanks.
So I'm not trying to give the history of the buildings here. It's just if someone says, well, what's 63 Main Street? At least they get that one little blurb. Westboro State Hospital, we talked a lot about like that, but again, it comes down again to just our role with the signage. In Boundary Street, I had not realized till recently that the town actually owns the old Starrow Brook Farm barn. I did not realize the town owns it.
Wow, that's awesome.
Because we don't know what the town's going to do with it, right? So,
Does anyone live there, Norm?
oh, the barn is vacant.
What
But
about
the houses,
grounds?
the people live in the houses next to it, but the
Yes.
barn is vacant and it's
Okay.
town owned. If you, just because we're on that topic, let me just pull that map out again, Bob. See, if you look at this possible storage site, which is one thing that we're talking about, that little these buildings right here are the barn. So the town
Oh, I
owns
see.
the barn. They don't own the house on this side. They don't own the house on this side. They own the barn. And these are
Okay.
access roads to Main Street essentially. So that's,
I thought that was the plan for purchasing that property was for a wastewater treatment plant, because we're getting to the point large enough that we're gonna have to think about building our own facility. And Westboro or Marlboro might not be interested in continuing our agreement with them to accept our waste. So that, as I understood, that property was purchased for that specific reason, to be the location of the future Northborough wastewater treatment plant.
that was why it was purchased, but the future use is unknown. That may not be the future use.
Well, if we have to build a wastewater treatment plant, I don't know if there's too many other spots, right?
Well, yeah, that's, you know. really
Hasn't
gets
that
to be-
already been assessed?
No,
I
that's,
guess.
you know, our involvement will be if they decide to do something with the land. It could be conservation. It's a historical farmland for the most part. So if it's conservation, we should be involved. It could be for some type of housing. We should be involved to know what's going on. Maybe it stays as trails and open public land for a while. But that's a planning board, planning department, the topic on how they handle that down the road. But it's one of the things that pops up all the time at these meetings is what's going to happen at Boundary Street. So
Who, is it the planning board that will make the decisions on all these vacant properties, or how does that work?
well, let's see. For one example, the one I know the best is 13 Church Street is up for sale. The town has it for sale. You want to buy it, Mike?
No.
So that one, they're all different. So that one, if someone wants to buy it, put a proposal into town hall and buy it. It was put on the town warrant 2 years ago as a possible, the town wants to sell it. The other ones, it's going to come down to what's the best situation for, well, White Cliffs, we know that that's a whole story on its own, a whole evaluation on its own. But the issue is coming down to the current town hall is not viable for the future. What happens next? And that's where some of these other properties might play a role. 4 West Main Street might play a role. Gutting and reconfiguring the current town hall might play a role. That's actually Board of Selectmen decisions on what to do with that. All right, so switching. So that is the biggest part of the plan. And then the other ones, you know, it says where appropriate, utilize surplus municipal owned properties as community spaces while reuse studies are in progress. That get into the master plan. Not sure exactly why, but if that's, I'd just say we should agree to this goal where appropriate. I mean, it's a funny one because right now the building on Church Street is abandoned, but you know, the town's not going to have people go in there and find a use for it while it's abandoned. So there may be a situation where appropriate. Identify and support reuse efforts of town-owned historic properties, prioritizing future use by the town, community groups, and cultural organizations. So if it's appropriate, you know, will get involved. Coordinate efforts among cultural, historical, and environmental organizations. That's the third big goal. And really, this is essentially saying we need to cooperate with other committees and organizations within the town. And certainly we support that plan. I also added in addition, this is something that Bruce mentioned a while back. We should try to foster maybe some interaction and cooperation with our adjacent communities that also have historical societies, historical commissions, and the like. We have common interests for sure. For some reason, these particular goals are very, very wordy. This has to do with becoming a certified local government. Bottom line is so that we can do some things as a historical commission that we can't do now. I don't know what that means. So our responsibility is to work with the town planner and investigate what that is, what that means, how we get there, and if we should get it. 4-3 is work with Downtown Planning Revitalization Committee to avoid and mitigate potential adverse impacts on historic homes along Main Street. That's a good one. And that's one that we should work very closely with the Master Plan Implementation Committee regarding the downtown district. At some point, it appears there will be some type of downtown beautification revitalization committee. And we may want to have representatives on that particular committee when it comes up. Possibility of hiring interns. That's a good idea. So we support that plan. If that makes sense, we can try to hire interns. Sometimes you can hire interns through grant money. We have a particular project that we'd like. So this last one, number 4, preserve and enhance the natural landscapes of the community. Again, many of these old landscapes are old farms, woodlots. There's a lot of history from the colonial ages with these. And all I did and said essentially is our role is to improve communications with these other committees. So that's our goal there. And finally, these are the references, which I don't have them. I have them in the right order, but I certainly don't have them in detail that they need. Future historic markers. Thank you, Bob. These are the ones that you said was for the native trail at the state hospital.
The Native American Migration Trail.
Yeah, that one.
And then the other one would be the
Farm community.
the state hospital farm building complex.
Yeah, I'll just put these in more as a reminder. We can do them properly later.
And I think that's Lyman Street, right?
Yeah, they're both on Lyman Street. Yeah. Remember this list? These are the individual building assets that are identified for protection on this National Historic Registration. This was given to us by the people who did the inventory of the town back in 2008, 2009. It's a pretty long list. These are some of the things we should be thinking about how to get these on the National Register. And there's some interesting ones on here, like the Gale Library. We cannot put it on the register because of the new edition. We already have a letter that says that's not the case.
Ah,
There's quite a long list here of possible individual property nominations. The second table, HPP3, these are structures and objects that could be on the National Register. 2 railroad bridges, Mary Goodnell's burial ground, and then Howard Street burial ground and the Brigham Street burial ground. So the Howard Street one is we're working on it now with the contractor. The 2 railroad bridges, we have letters from them from several years ago that they have no interest whatsoever in putting those bridges on the National Register. They've sent a nice letter, but they're not doing that. And that's because they're stone construction. They're very unique, small bridges. And let's see. These are districts, so you can also have districts for the National Register recommendation. And these, so the Meeting House Common, which is currently a local historic district, could also be put on the National Register. The town center could be put on the national register. There's a section of School Street and Summer Street where they intersect. There's enough houses that are unique there that that could be on the register. Then we get the Woodside Mill area, Chickenville area, White Cliffs, the White Cliffs Mansion on its own, and it could also be associated with the other buildings that are still standing. You could do a historic register of the 4 or 5 old schoolhouses that are still available and still standing in Northborough. And then there's another one they recommended, the Historic Farms Thematic District. So you can, these districts can actually be spread apart. So you can, and I never knew that, but these are all the recommendations we have. So we have a long list of things to do over the next 10 to 15 years. We can prioritize them as they come up, but I just wanted to get pen to paper to say, this is what we know. This is a list of the properties that we sent the preservation information to back 2 years ago now. COVID put that one, stop that pretty quick. But I was in communication with the woman the owner of 130 South Street. That's that old White House that Alan Steinmetz used to own. And she was interested in learning more. I sent her a long email with details of how to do preservation on her property. These are the pictures of the houses. So her house is this one right here. That's the house on South Street.
Pretty.
And while I think of it, this house on Whitney Street is for sale. So we do have one of these old antiques up on the market.
I saw that. I saw the listing for that, and the house is gorgeous inside. It looks old.
Yeah, it is beautiful inside, isn't it? So I assume this will be a preservationist who will purchase it, and hopefully not someone who wants to demolish it. But the inside's gorgeous. Couple pictures of White Cliffs just so people know what it looked like in the past. And Bob, I'm going to take you up on your offer. You said your wife could do some new pictures for me.
Yeah, you mentioned 3 pictures that needed improvement. I didn't know if there was any stock photos somewhere else, but if not,
it would be better to get some new pictures. I mean, this one here, the White Cliffs ones I'm fine with. This one on this 13 Church Street, that's a Google Maps picture I took from Street View. So it might be better to have a more professional image.
okay.
It's 2017. And then this is also a Google Maps picture. And I think somebody could take a better picture than that. This one here for Town Hall is Google Maps, but it's when they were repairing the front. So a good new picture, that would be good. And a good picture of Chauncey Hall would be nice. So if your wife's willing, she could get a hold of those 4 pictures. That would be very helpful for us.
Yeah, take a crack at it, see what you think.
That's Sterrebrook Farm. I'm happy with that picture. That's the barn. And then the map, I'll edit the map like you recommended so that it does show the trails. It's one little click on the map and it shows all the trails, so that's easy. All right. So thank you for listening to all of that. I would like someone to work with me who can do editing and make sure that my commas are in the right places and my punctuation's right and my verbiage is right. That's where I'm weak at. So if somebody wants to do that, raise your hand or contact me, because the next step is really to tidy this up. This is the core of the historic plan.
Norm, that's how I get my jollies, being a proofreader. So
Is that an acceptance of my request?
I throw my name in the nomination ring.
All right.
Yay!
So what I will do.
I'm writing that down. You're on.
She's on. All right. What I'm going to do, Leslie, is before you see it, hopefully I'll have better pictures, and then I will go through the references with more detail because that's not sufficient. And then I will send it to you to do the dirty work, which I really appreciate.
Sure.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm looking at the house on Whitney Street right now. It's pretty cool.
It is. Can you do the shared view?
Sure.
If you're allowed, you can give it a shot. Let me unsave just in case that's a problem.
Yep. Let me go back. So here's.
Wow.
Where'd the listing go? Oh, there we go. So $500,000.
Huh, they reduced the price. And the old homes are still hard to sell, aren't they?
I guess so. Here are the photos. There we go.
Oh, that's nice.
Wow,
Yeah, I love that library.
yeah,
Well, they really did a restoration.
they did a beautiful job.
You wouldn't know it from the outside. I mean, you just don't know what's inside. Wow.
Wow. That's a nice room.
Like an old barn.
Mhm. Wow. Backyard.
Kitchen could use a little updating.
Yep. I like your sink though. Look at that sink.
Yeah, these are the cabinets right here. Nice windows though. You know, look at all those windows.
Sounds like you're getting interested, Les.
Yeah. Definitely not.
Mhm. Yeah. Oh. Amazing.
It's beautiful.
Yeah, it is nice. So hopefully a nice next
Wow.
person will appreciate that and keep it up.
Well, we can
Great.
hope.
I had a few other things. Did the new members. So the Northborough history book by Reverend Kent. I didn't keep a good record of who actually has a copy. So I have it that Tom Reardon has a copy. He had his own copy. Brian Smith has a copy.
Yeah.
I have a copy. Brian Swanson, did I give you a copy at the meeting last week?
Yes, you did.
Not only 2 months ago, make that. Okay, so you have a copy. Millie, you were at the meeting, so did I give you a copy of that book?
You did.
All right. So I'm trying to figure out who didn't get a copy. And Bob, you must have got a copy.
I have a copy.
All right. So, Leslie, you don't have a copy.
This is the blue
book
one,
I
right?
heard- Huh?
This
It's
is
not
the
the
blue
blue
one,
book.
right?
This is
No.
the
Oh,
one
it's not?
written.
Oh.
This was a one written in 1910. It's kind of the Bible of the history of Northborough. That one.
This one.
Oh, no, I do not have that.
All right, because okay, so I need to make sure who doesn't have it. So Amanda, you don't have one, right?
No, I don't have a copy.
Let's see. Mike, did you get one? You must have got
Yes.
one. Okay.
I did.
Lorna wouldn't have a copy when she gets on board. And that might just be the last three. All right, I just want to make sure everybody that's on the committee has a copy. It's more like a reference manual. It's not the kind of book you read like a story, but if you want to just know some topic like town hall, you can flip to the chapter on town halls and tells you what all the town halls in Northborough are built. There are a lot more than the ones that are standing today. All right, so somehow Amanda, Leslie, and Lorna, I will find a way to get you the book.
Thank you.
Our next meeting date is September 15th. We'll keep that one on the books. Is on September 2nd, the Diversity and Inclusion Committee would like to meet with some members of our committee. This is 7 o'clock via video. I'm interested, I'm curious to see why we're meeting with them. Is anybody else available on September the 2nd at 7 o'clock?
I am.
You
I
are
am.
available?
Yes.
Okay,
I'm available.
all right. When I get the
Oh.
link for it, I'm gonna send it to the whole group anyway. But,
What time is it? 7 o'clock?
yeah, it's 7 o'clock via video on September the 2nd. So it'll be the same thing. They'll either the day before or that day, they'll send me the link and I'll send it around if somebody wants to participate. I'll be honest, I'm not really sure what they're looking for us, but it's certainly, I'd be curious to see what their perspective is and what we can help them with. Anybody have anything else they want to talk about? All right, that's good. Go down, take a look at the new marker, all right?
Yes.
Please, if there's a comma mistake or a period mistake, I don't want to hear it. Oh, and we'll see you guys in a month.
Motion to adjourn?
Thank you, Leslie. Anybody seconding it?
Second.
All right. Take care. See you in a month and enjoy the rest of the
Do
summer.
we need a roll call
Yeah,
to
we do
adjourn?
need a roll call. All right. So this is to adjourn. Brian Smith.
Present.
All right. Accept,
What
you
am I
want to
supposed
accept
to
this?
say?
All right. Bob Light,
I can't vote.
you're right. I keep forgetting.
Let's see how many
Brian
times we can
Swanson.
rub that in one
Eventually I'll
evening.
get
Yeah,
I agree.
I feel
Michael,
bad enough already.
Yes, approve.
Millie?
Agree.
Yes.
All right. And Leslie?
About not to be present, and I'd like to point out that Bob was not able to vote.
Yes.
Ah.
And I say we're done with this meeting, so I approve. Thank you all.